recording?
This is our opening contest of the Survivor Series. Coming down the aisle is the perfect team. I've never seen so
Our first candidate is Andy Dunn. Next is Jesse Kelly. Now it's Brian Miller's turn. And finally, Senator Jonathan Payton.
This is so awesome. I'm having the best time.
Politics in America today is identical to pro wrestling. And what I mean by that is, in front of the cameras and the public, we all hate each other. I'm going to kick my opponent's butt. I'm going to whale him from here to high water and beat the crap out of him. Yet behind the scenes, we all are friends going out to dinner.
Went to dinner together.
And it's all a work.
All intermarried. Show business.
It's showbiz. And that's what you have today in politics. The Democrats and Republicans aren't really opposed to each other.
This is so awesome.
I honestly have a hard time understanding how we can allow our tax dollars to be spent hiring lawyers to defend terrorists in Manhattan. I'd rather have those tax dollars spent killing the terrorists who came to our country in the first place.
If we don't get some tough-minded individuals that realize that terrorists are coming here and they do want to harm our citizens here, they want to kill every man, woman, and child in this country. If we don't get some people in this administration that realize that, we are in a lot of trouble, and I do fear for future attacks on the United States of America.
We have to sanction them. They're going to tell us that they don't have desires to build weapons with this enriched uranium, but of course they desire to. The Iranians in the revolution that they had, they hate the West and they hate everyone who doesn't believe that they do. Right now we're in Iraq, so we can stop. I want to say we can deter, but we're not deterred. The president has the will to do this. All we do is we bark. North Korea, Kim Jong-il is insane. And I am terrified that one day he will launch a weapon at us.
greatest wrestling we ever seen.
It isn't real! Don't you people understand that stuff isn't real? None of it! How stupid are you? What do you mean it ain't real?
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
What we have in Afghanistan right now is a mission that's undefined. And with an undefined mission, we can never have true victory, because it's not defined. We're propping up the second most corrupt government in the world, second only to Somalia. General Jones, the National Security Advisor, tells us that our own military intelligence estimates that we have less than 100 Al-Qaeda members left in Afghanistan. So the question is, what are we still doing in Afghanistan when we have problems in places like Pakistan? Well, the fact is, it's unfortunate that we are engaged in unconstitutional nation building in Afghanistan. We have our provincial reconstruction teams there, and these soldiers cost the American taxpayer $1 million per year. And of course, we're risking their very lives. It is not the job of the United States military to be Afghanistan's version of Habitat for Humanity by building roads, schools, bridges, and digging wells. I talked for an hour 2 days ago with General Mueller. He's a friend of mine for years and the highest Air Force officer in Afghanistan right now. And he told me two things. He says, Brian, remember this, every action we take in Afghanistan there are at least 10 unintended consequences, and we will be paying for their government security for decades. because the security necessary to secure Afghanistan costs 4 times the amount that Afghanistan's government bring in.
Jesse Kelly would like to make a rebuttal.
Afghanistan is a war that must be won. We're not nation building over there, it's standard counterinsurgency operations. We are building up their security forces so that when we pull out, the Taliban do not immediately take over that nation, and immediately Al-Qaeda will move right back in. Pakistan, as you said, they are nuclear, they are fragile, they are right next door. A Taliban-run Afghanistan means a nuclear weapon in the hands of terrorists sooner rather than later. This intelligence, supposed intelligence that there are only 100 Al-Qaeda left in Afghanistan, there are 8 dead CIA agents recently who would greatly beg to differ about Al-Qaeda's influence still in Afghanistan. 9/11, 5,000 Americans were killed. It was an attack that was planned and launched from Afghanistan. If we walk away now and let it become a terrorist haven again, 10 years from now, more buildings will fall. I don't know when it became acceptable for any party, any politician in this country, to tuck tail and run. We are the United States of America. We win wars. We come home victorious. Our soldiers over there are doing the job. If the president will give them the tools they need, meaning when the general asks for 40,000 troops, you don't give him 30,000 troops. If we get them the tools they need and get the politicians out of the way, we will come home victorious, and Afghanistan, instead of being a terrorist haven, will be an ally in a region where we greatly, greatly need one.
Another rebuttal from Mr. Miller.
Okay, I did want to use this because I need to clear some misinformation from my opponent up. This is not supposed intelligence. This is our military intelligence that tells us that there are very few Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. Al-Qaeda is spread around the world. Now, to say this is not nation building is to either be in denial of reality or to have not looked at it. There is no referendum for us to be doing what we're doing over there. By us planting 100,000 troops there, plus 30 to 40,000 NATO troops, we are not securing Americans. We must remember that not everybody who's willing to fight us in Afghanistan is necessarily our enemy. Because remember this, there's one thing that unites Afghanis. 2,500 years of history proves this, and that is the presence of a foreigner. We are the foreigners there now. And so the insurgents, the people who live there, are naturally suspicious of us. Now, I'm not saying we caused 9/11. Do not put those words in my mouth. But we need to realize that our foreign policy has repercussions. And the longer we continue to head down this path of trying to force the Western way of life and government on cultures who have never experienced anything like this, the more problems, the more money, the more blood we are going to shed. We need to stop fighting an unconventional enemy by invading with conventional forces. The job of the United States military is to protect Americans, to protect your life, your liberty, your property.
Why should we not be defending civil liberties? And why should we not be talking about foreign policy that used to be the part of the Republican Party? Mr. Republican Robert Taft didn't even want us to be in NATO. And you're saying now that we have to continue to borrow money from China to finance this empire that we can't afford? Let me see if I get this right. We need to borrow $10 billion from China, and then we give it to Musharraf, who's a military dictator who overthrew an elected government, and then we go to war, we lose all these lives promoting democracy in Iraq. I mean, what's going on here? And you're saying that this isn't appealing to Republicans? Where did this come about? So where have we gone? I think we've lost our way. Is then the insinuation that I am less Republican because of that?
Congressman, thank you very much. Well, I believe it says right there in the preamble, provide for the common defense, and that means defeating an enemy before he comes over here and blows buildings up.
So preemptive, pre-crime.
Yes.
Pre-crime.
Because
I've seen that Minority Report.
See, the truth is that peace is oftentimes not found at the tip of the pen, but the tip of the spear, and that's the bottom line. That's the truth of it. All the theories, all the wishing it weren't that way, it is that way. And we have Raytheon there, and that's a big employer, over 10,000 employees in my district.
Time for the talk